Hi, this is Martin and welcome to this OI10 video in which we are going to be looking at enabling our users to launch a pop-up, to make a selection, return that to a data entry form and display their chosen record on screen. If you're an OpenInsight programmer and developer, this is something that you'll have done many times, normally by using a button. Now this is the clinic application that I'm starting to put together for the tutorials that I'm planning, the video tutorials. But if we click the button, I'll show you what we mean. So we get this lookup window that we've defined in our system. We make a selection, it then returns the data and reads the record. Very simple. Now to do that, traditionally people have put a button onto their form and they've used some script or some code. So this particular script says to disable the save warn, launch the pop-up, get the key that the user has chosen, pass that into the edit line and read the window. Now there's not a lot of code here, but it could be a potential point of failure. If there's a bug in here, then obviously things aren't going to work, and therefore it would be better to get rid of all of that code and use the system code if we can. So we're going to remove that code. In fact, we don't even need the button. What we're going to do here, we could do from the button, but I'm actually going to delete that button and I'm going to use a static text control. This is just a static text, more commonly called a label. As you can see here, it's called label_ID. I've got a tooltip on here. So find a record, launch a pop-up to pick a record to display. So it's just some help text for the users, information and balloon style, just some styling. And one of the things that I like to do is to make my text visibly clickable. So I usually underline it and I like to have a full color which is blue. And when the mouse runs over the text, we're going to make it maroon. And the other thing that I like to do is I like to have my text center left. Just makes it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So now when I test run the form, you'll see that I've got my blue underlined text to indicate that it's clickable. As I mouse over, I get the nice maroon color and I get the help that comes up. So that's my text stroke button set. What we'll do now is go ahead and set the options for the edit line. So if we select the edit line, go to the events tab, options, and in here we want to display our pop-up that's previously been created in OpenInsight, and the pop-up that we want to call is the appointments pop-up. And the rest we can leave as the defaults, except for the important bit, the finalize part. So what we're going to do is we're going to call the pop-up, we're going to get the value that the user's returned, and then we're going to run the finalize. And the finalize section is to send an event to the window, and the event that we're going to send is the, let me just move this up a little bit, the read event. Now this is on my screen, but the video isn't quite deep enough. So the message is read, and we'll skip it if null. So we'll save and close. And the next thing we want to do for our label is to call that event. So on the click event, again we'll turn on the quick events, and this time we'll select a new one which is trigger options. And in trigger options we can leave everything in here as the default. So the event is to get the focus on the previous control. There's nothing to return, but what we want to do is to send the options event and fire that off. So we will save and close, and then if we test run, actually before we test run, there's one other thing that we need to do. When I created the form, I put all of the labels and the buttons and everything together. So I had my controls that we interact with at the top and then everything else at the bottom. It's best practice to make sure that your labels are paired up. So what I want to do is for label ID is we'll move that to the top. Now you can either do it using the buttons or you can drag it to where you want. Now I want to have it, because we've used the previous selection, we want to have it after the edit line that we're going to be working with, so within the tab order. So link to patient, we'll put that after that one, and then we've got app time, we can drag that up and put that afterwards. Doctor, we'll pop that in there. Summary. So you get the idea. This is how to set the tab order within your system. And we'll just do the last one. That one there. Okay, that's fine. And we'll OK. And if I now test run that, and we click on the button, we then get our pop-up. We can make a selection, and it reads that record. Nice and easy. Now, some of you, when you've been testing this from the blog posting, were getting a message that there were no options. If you get that, go into the tab order and just make sure that you've got the proper tab order set. You may well find that the tab order isn't quite right. Make that change and you should be good. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to catching up with you again very soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.